Hafa and good afternoon to you and to the people of Guam. This confirmation hearing will be conducted by myself, Senator William A. Parkinson, Chairman of the Committee on Fire, Agriculture, Power and Energy Utilities, Public Transit, Unemployment Insurance, and Universal Insurance. This confirmation hearing is called to order at 12:01 p.m. Notice of this confirmation hearing was disseminated to all local media outlets on January 17, 2023, and the second notice was also shared to all local media on January 20, 2023. Notice of this hearing was also posted and available on the Guam Legislature's website. This morning, the committee will hear the testimony on the appointment of Jenei Aguon to serve as the member of the board of the Guam Regional Transit Authority. I would like to welcome my colleagues who are joining us today. I would like to acknowledge Legislative Secretary Amanda Shelton and Senator Roy Kanata, as well as my colleague Senator Sabina Perez. And did I see Senator Joanne Brown here as well? And Senator Joanne Brown as well. We will now proceed with discussions on the appointment of Jenei Aguon to serve as member of the board on the Guam Regional Transit Authority. We will hear testimony from those who joined us today. I will call on individuals based on how their names appear in the order on the sign-in sheet. Okay, so let us go ahead and start with Jenei Aguon. I'd also like to recognize my colleague, Senator Tom Fisher, for joining us as well. All right, go ahead, Mrs. Aguon, anytime you'd like to start.
Hafa Senators, thank you so much for having me here again today. I understand this is the second time, but technicalities. So let me start by introducing myself. Hafa and good morning, good afternoon. My name is Jenei Aguon. I am the daughter of Guam, born and raised in Dededo, currently residing in the wonderful village of Mangilao. I've been happily married for 20 years to Kevin Aguon. We have one son, and my mother, one son, Gabriel. My mother, Paz Flores, was employed with the Guam Mass Transit from 1997 to 2002. So it's always held a special place in my heart. I remember decorating the bus during the Liberation Day Parade and then participating in then Governor Carl Gutierrez's Christmas decorating contest. Our creation, a steering wheel centerpiece, won second place. Because of this, I've always had fond memories of the Guam Mass Transit, which is also the Guam Regional Transit Authority today. For many that do not know me, helping others has always been the focus of my many projects. In my current capacity as a development coordinator with the UOG Endowment Foundation, I help donors create scholarships so that students can pursue their higher education. As a creative director and pageant director for our small business Pitbull Empire, we make it a requirement for our queens and title holders to partner with nonprofit organizations and serve our community through cleanups and food drives. And in my former capacity as a family service worker for the Bureau of Social Services Administration and Public Health, I assisted families who were trying to reunify with their children. This meant understanding their needs and their obstacles that they faced in completing their service plan agreements. One of the biggest needs families on island face is reliable transportation. To better help the clients I worked with and understand their plight, I have taken the transit several times with them, and this allowed me to better understand some of their issues that they face and how to navigate the different transit lines. I know these experiences would be beneficial as a board member to empathize with our current constituents so that we may be able to serve them better. I hope to work with the board and Mr. Ibanez to bridge the gaps in accessibility. I would also like to work towards breaking the stigma of using the transit to change people's perception of public transportation and make it a viable source for those who need reliable transportation. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my testimony, and have a good day.
Mr. Ibanez, did you have testimony you'd like to give?
Yes, I do, Senator Parkinson, Chairman.
All right.
Good afternoon, Chairman Senator William Parkinson, honorable members of the committee, Senator Shelton, Senator Kanata, Senator Fisher, Senator Brown, and Senator Perez. Good morning. Dear Honorable William A. Parkinson and members of the committee, Hafade, I am Richard Ibanez, Acting Director for the Guam Regional Transit Authority. I would like to express my favor for Ms. Jenei Aguon to join GRTA's esteemed Board of Directors. Ms. Aguon, a former Vice President of the Foster Families Association, is a strong advocate for foster children and has been passionate family service worker for 7 years. Ms. Aguon's responsibilities as a family service worker permitted her to play a vital role in assisting families in reuniting with their children. While doing so, she realized that many families were without reliable transportation. These families heavily rely on public transit to get to their destinations. In an attempt to identify with and recognize the challenges that many of her clients face, Ms. Aguon was proactive and took the initiative to utilize the transit system. With such dedication and compassion, Ms. Aguon is seen as a true advocate for her constituents. Her experience with clients utilizing the public transit and her passion for helping people will be an asset to the board. In addition, Ms. Aguon's community services work as a developmental coordinator for the UOG Endowment Foundation takes her capabilities beyond the horizon, thinking out of the box while developing business and community relationships to secure scholarships and provide funding for many programs at the University of Guam. Ms. Aguon's remarkable experience will be beneficial to our board as she bonds the perspective of both constituent and community development, henceforth aligning with GRT's mission to provide reliable, accessible, and cost-efficient public transportation services to the general public and individuals with disabilities of the territory of Guam to plan, establish, develop, coordinate, promote, own, and operate services and facilities that support public transportation. It is with great honor that I unduly support Ms. Jenei Aguon to join GRTA as one of our board of directors. Sijuos Masi.
Thank you for your comments, sir. I will now open up the floor to the senators for any questions they have. We'll start with Legislative Secretary Amanda Shelton.
Sijuos Masi, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Ibanez. Thank you very much, Mrs. Aguon, for your testimony this morning. I don't really have any questions. I know this is your second round coming in, Jenei, for a confirmation hearing. Your testimony really said a lot. I think what we need on this board is someone who's willing to work and to learn the ropes, and you sound very willing to do so. And I've had experience working with you, seeing your passion in so many other sectors of our community where you give your time and your talent very freely, and in the work that you do at the University of Guam Endowment Foundation. So I have a lot of confidence in you that you'll be able to serve our public. And as you know, you mentioned it yourself, this is a problem for our community, transportation, reliable transportation. And the folks who are relying on the transit are usually some of our most vulnerable. And so we need you to continue to be that advocate and continue to work with us as well as a liaison between our community and the legislature in whatever way that we can continue supporting the transit to you as well, Mr. Ibanez. So we're here to support you, and I look forward to voting on your confirmation in our first session. Thank you very much.
Senator Roy.
I just wanted to congratulate you and Director. It looks good that the director's here to support you. And I think you've been a community advocate. You've organized a lot of activities for the island from all walks of life. So I'm sure you'll definitely bring in a champion. You'll be a new addition to championing things for the Transportation Authority, and you'll bring success for the island and the people of Guam. So I wish you all the best, and if there's anything my office as well can do to aid you guys' response to the island's needs, please reach out to us. Thank you.
Senator Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Tom Fisher. I'm a senator here in the 37th Guam Legislature. I don't think we've ever had the pleasure to have met. Well, it's nice to see you. And I would join with the other senators in congratulating you on your appointment. I appreciate the fact that you are willing to take time out of your own life, which I'm sure you've got a lot going on, to serve the community. It says a lot about you that you're willing to step up, so thank you very much for that. I'm curious, from where you sit right now, what do you think is the greatest challenge facing the GRTA?
I think one of the biggest challenges is, for one, in over 10 years, I mean, GRTA has been in operation for many years, and GRTA does not have a permanent home. It's been moving. When my mom was working at GRTA, it was in Aguon, where the Aguon mayor's office is at, and then it's moved several times, and then now it's at DPW. It doesn't have their own, they don't have their own home. So of course that's one of the hardest things, because if you don't have a home base, you know, it's like not having a home. If you don't have a home base, it's hard for you to work from there and to move forward. The other thing that I've noticed is that they haven't done a study in a couple of years already on routes. So a lot of the routes are old routes. So we need to look at the routes and try to either add or take away routes, and really just, I guess, build on the route so that it has more people have more accessibility to utilize the transit. And the other thing that I would like to really look at is really just breaking the stigma of riding the transit. Guam is the only place I know that people are embarrassed to ride the transit because they say, oh, they're riding the transit. No, I want to be able to change that perception, because the transit is a really reliable source of transport, a really reliable source for people, and I want people to be able to see that. I mean, people all over the world utilize buses, and it's not looked down or frowned upon. And so I want to be able to change that stigma by helping them and being on this board.
Thank you very much for that answer. I enjoyed hearing your insight on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Brown?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Certainly welcome back, Jenei. I know it hasn't been very long since your last visit here, probably not even a couple of months. In your short tenure that you've served, and certainly appreciate the question by Senator Fisher, what would you like to see accomplished in your tenure now that you will have a full term ahead of you to serve on the Mass Transit Board?
Well, one of the things that I was just really thinking about was, in this month we've had 2 concerts, and in that we've had a ton of cars come into Aguon, park everywhere. It's been a traffic jam. I want people to be able to, if we have a park and ride, which is one of the things we don't have established in like a village like Derrida, right? Because I know that's being worked on right now. I think it'll alleviate a lot of traffic. You know, we want people to say, hey, there's a park and ride. Let's park here in Derrida. Let's take the transit to Paseo and, you know, have fun at the concert, and, you know, just kind of alleviate that traffic. So I want the transit to be that sort of system where they can look at, because I know we've done it before when we've had buses. When we've had, like, I guess, fairs at Ipao Beach, we've had buses bus down from Okapela's site to Ipao Beach. Why can't we do that with the Guam Mass Transit? Why do we have to hire outside busing? So I want people to be able to see that and say, this is a viable source. Let's take this, you know? So that's one of the things that I want to try to tackle and try to see if it's feasible, especially with the bus shortage. I know that we just got a couple buses in. Six buses in. So, I mean, that's a start, because, of course, shortage of buses is going to be an issue. But, you know, having more buses in would be definitely a start.
Well, certainly look forward to you serving in this term again. Thank you for stepping up. You're a very energetic individual, and I think the board will certainly continue to benefit from your service. And we look forward to hearing good, positive things. I like your attitude in wanting to see and change direction and perception. I mean, on Guam, even if you're walking, you could be just walking a short distance. I know I've seen Senator Fisher walking, and I'm wondering, does he need a ride? And he's going, no, I want to exercise. But it's sort of an attitude we have on the islands, like, oh, if you're walking, you don't have a car, you don't have resources. If you're riding the bus, oh, you must not have the money to buy a car.
Correct.
And I don't know why it is like that, but I think certainly your efforts to kind of change that perception would be a good thing, because there's a lot of people in our community, a lot of elderly that cannot drive or don't have the ability to drive anymore, but, it allow them to be more mobile and get out without having, maybe it's their medical appointment or something they want to attend, and they don't want to put any additional burden sometimes on their family, and yet still have the mobility. If it's to get together, go to McDonald's, or whatever the case may be. There's certainly so much benefit that can be gained by having that ability to get out there, get on the bus, and go to other parts of the island during the day and do it safely. So look forward to your continued efforts, and thank you for stepping up to serve.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Sabina Paris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, Ms. Aguon, and thank you for stepping up to the plate to be a nominee on our board of this a very important board. So I know you, in your testimony you provided, it was very, you wanted to be more rooted in the community, and I think that's really essential, that the busing system is accessible to everyone. And I know you also mentioned that you want GRTA to have a home. And so back in the 35th Guam legislature, we did pass a bill, it became law, that we transferred title to GRTA to have that home. And so if you know anything about the progress of that.
I'm still going through parts of what's going on at the mass transit at the moment. Right now, that's not my main focus. My main focus right now would be to look at the routes and updating the routes, because as far as I know, a lot of the routes we haven't done a study.
To add on to Ms. Aguon's answer, we are doing a feasibility study for our routes as we speak. So once you're on board, Ms. Aguon, I could give you the information, because we do have some dead spots on the island where we actually don't need a bus stop, and there's other areas where we do need a bus stop.
And so that would be my main focus at first, because from my experience being with clients from public health, we experience where we would have to walk pretty far to just get to a bus stop to be able to get to a transfer station. So looking at the routes would be able to help their people directly and more efficiently. So that would be my main focus at the moment.
But do you understand that there was work being done? As a board member, would you oversee what the progress has been, considering that it's been 2 terms since it was passed? I mean, the intent was to have a home built, and I believe there was federal funds at stake. So as a board member, is this a concern for you?
Definitely, because like I said, having a home for GRTA would be beneficial for them as a whole team. I recently had the pleasure to go there and meet them, see them back in December. They're a good team. They're happy to work. I've never seen a director or with their team just engage and really talk about what they want to do and how they want to progress. So I guess it would be great for their morale as well, because morale is definitely a big thing for these bus drivers who go through, they drive all day, and being on the road all day in that heat, it really does take a toll. So I guess having a home would definitely help them, and I hope I'm answering your question in terms of why I feel like it would be important.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but the other thing was, I believe it was, it would provide maintenance for these buses, so to make sure that they stay in service and that it services more of our people. So it was more of a comprehensive plan. It wasn't just a place where buses stop over, but they were going to get the due maintenance. So is this something that you'll be looking into as a board member?
Definitely. It's one of the things, like I said, on my list of 3, the routes, the home, and routes in the home, and which one? Oh, the park and ride. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
It's okay. Well, thank you for answering those questions, but I do have a couple more. So, GRTA has been awarded several federal grants. Is this something that you will look into to make sure that no money's left on the table? This is one of the issues that I think the former director had, or that there was a concern about procurement. And, as a board, if confirmed, is this something that you will look into? What are your plans to streamline procurement so that federal funds are used so that we can expand these services?
Well, I definitely want to look at procurement. having that type of background, working at the university and working at the mayor's office, I understand how procurement and how federal funds need to be used. So I would definitely be looking at that and making sure. One of the things I want to look at is, I guess, timelines, because of course federal funding, there are timelines, and I haven't really looked at their timelines with their federal funds. I haven't actually stepped in there yet. So that is one thing that I want to look at, because being able to spend the money wisely and to spend it in a timely manner is definitely going to be something that we need to look at. As far as the procurement process, I know that, I guess the buses were, there was a procurement process that went out, I believe 2018 or 2019, I can't recall, that fell through. But so that's what I want to look at, is the gaps in being able to procure properly and to make sure that they have the procedure done correctly. Thanks.
Thank you. Another one of the responsibilities of a board member is choosing the executive director. What is your understanding about how that's done?
So I understand there is a criteria for the executive director. Right now, Mr. Ibanez is the interim. What I would like to look at is the flow, continuation of work. So right now, they've been through 2 directors in the past how many years? I would like to get, I guess, a consensus from the employees and how they work well with Mr. Ibanez, because I am not opposed to having Mr. Ibanez secured as an executive director and no longer the interim. Like I said, I've watched him with the employees. I've never seen morale so high. I've never seen a director who has such a great relationship with their employees. And for me, having a great relationship with the head and their employees really helps towards morale and having happy employees. And I believe having happy employees, happy bus drivers, will in turn trickle down to having great customer service with our constituents who already feel like they're in the bottom of the barrel. But if you open if they get on the bus driver is a happy guy and he says, "Hey, welcome," that tells me that they're doing something good, and that also trickles down to how the riders feel. So that's what I look at, is really morale. Really looking at the process and how they're able to work with whatever they have currently at the moment. And I would like to also look at what they're doing to be able to secure more buses and to be able to just continue to do their work, basically.
Okay, so in GCA, there's actually qualifications that are mandated. So some of them is a combined 10 years of documented experience. So in law, there are requirements for qualifications. Are you, as a board member, would you abide by these mandates?
Well, it is the law, so I would have to abide for it, yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate your responses, and looking forward to your confirmation.
Thank you, Senator.
Before I move on to my own comments and questions, I'd like to read into the record the testimony of former Senator Regine Biscoli at this time. She'll be filing it by email, but I got a copy of her testimony here for us today. Hafaday Chairman Parkinson and members of Lehestron Guahan, I am pleased to offer my highest recommendation of Ms. Jenei Aguon to serve our people of Guam of the Regional Transit Authority Board, and I thank Governor Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Tenorio for this nomination. Ms. Aguon has demonstrated years of advocacy and service within our community. Through her 7 years service as a family service worker, her leadership as Vice President of the Guam Foster Families Association, she brings her knowledge, skill, and compassion to bear for the people of Guam. In various community roles and in her professional capacity at the University of Guam, Ms. Aguon has helped countless families and truly understands the challenges surrounding reliable transportation and our transit system. She continues to be a strong and consistent advocate for transit riders, and her passion for helping people will be an incredible asset to the board. I have had the pleasure of working with Ms. Aguon both personally and professionally over the past decade, and I look forward to her expertise and talent being leveraged on the GRTA board. Should you have any questions or need any additional information, please contact me via email. Sidhu Suasi, Regine Biscoli. My question for you, Ms. Aguon, is According to the 2022 GRTA Citizen-Centric Report, the GRTA collected $63,883 in fares and other non-appropriated funds. GRTA in turn spent $6,446,502 in operating expenses in that same year. That means GRTA collected only 1% of its operating revenue in fares. How would you make GRT more efficient, cost-effective, and able to recoup more of their operating expenses from revenue?
First of all, it's really a marketing thing. With marketing, we try to get people to do stuff. For example, we get people to try to ride the bus. Why are they not riding the bus? So we have to look at that first and foremost. And a lot of the times it's perception. A lot of the people I ask is like, you know what? Why don't you guys just ride the bus? GRTA, the bus stop is right there, and you could take the bus, and it will save you gas, time, and money. And a lot of the times, like I said, perception and stigma of like, I don't want to ride the bus because people are going to look at me different. So it's really just changing that, and I believe it starts with us. So I would like to start by encouraging people in the government and employees, Guam employees, to ride the bus. It was done before with Governor Calvo during one of the typhoons when we were at a gas shortage. I don't see why we can't do it now. Not only will it be cost efficient for us as a constituent, but it will also save us gas. We could look at it more in an environmental impact way where less fossil fuels will be used, less gas. So that's one of the things I want to look at. It's really a marketing strategy and trying to get people to change their perception to start riding the bus. Now, with the cost incurred of $6 million, I believe, that's from there, because you were looking at the one on the website, right? The NAF and all that. So a lot of the times I know that buses break down. I mean, cars break down. We have how many buses, and it's taking a toll being on the road every day. So we need to look at getting new buses and being able to maintain current buses that we have. But there's going to have to be a time where we have to look at these buses and say, is it even worth it to try to maintain this bus, or should we just get a new bus? Because maintenance in the long run is just going to cost more money as opposed to buying a brand new bus there's nothing wrong with it. So I would like to look at that as well. Because efficiency in the bus maintenance is definitely one of the biggest things we need to look at. And of course, we want to be able to give our people something, somewhere nice and clean to ride. A lot of the times they say, oh, it's like this on the bus, or I think a lot of people's perceptions are just based on what they see or what they think, but they've never actually been on a bus. When I went on the bus, it was pleasant. I didn't feel any sort of way. A lot of the people were friendly. And so I think it's really just trying to get them to see for themselves. But I would definitely like to look at the bus maintenance as opposed to buying new buses, as opposed to continue maintaining a bus that's beyond repair.
Thank you for that answer. My second question is, historically, the Guam Highway Fund was a major source of revenue for operating expenses of GRTA. The 36th Guam legislature suspended the gas taxes, which is a source of revenue for the highway fund, simultaneously when GRTA moved away from decades-long emergency procurement with Kloppenberger. They also gained a significant number of limited-term employees, such as bus drivers, customer service agents, and whatnot. How do you plan to mitigate this confluence of year-over-year budget cuts, along with the need to hire people and move others to classified positions?
As a small business owner, the saying goes, if you want to make money, you have to spend money. And I'm going to have to plead with the legislature to really look at our budget, because the budget cuts is really what's hurting our buses and our bus system. Maintenance really, in the long run, is more cost. It costs more. So I would like to really plead with the legislature to try to give us the budget that we asked for. Have a little faith in us so we can turn things around. I really feel confident that we can change perceptions and start to really build on this and becoming a viable source of income. I know our NAF is not a lot. What you said, 1%, right? It was a 1% from our total spending. I want to be able to do a 6-month study to see where we're at and why people are not riding the bus. I know that it went down because of COVID, and there was a lot of regulations to get on the bus, and people just didn't want to follow rules, and they just didn't want to deal with that. So I'm thinking that with this year, I'm hoping to see a turnaround. And because of the high price of everything going on right now, I'm confident that we're going to see a lot more people riding the transit system. And that should be able to help that.
Thank you for that answer. I first met Jenei in 2018 when she was running for senator, and one of the things that really impressed me about this lady was even though her bid for the legislature was not successful, I really admired that she still had the commitment to her community and still did the good work necessary. Like, you know, in terms of activity in the community, it's truly something inspiring to see how much you've really bought into the community and decided to put roots down and make it a better place for everybody here. So thank you for that, not just for, you know, your service coming onto this board and accepting the nomination, but all the service you've done throughout our community in these last few years that I've known you. It's truly been an honor and a pleasure, and I look forward to voting in favor of you come nomination time.
Thank you, Senator.
If there are no further questions or comments, this concludes our discussion on the appointment of Jenei Aguon to serve as member of the Board of Guam Regional Transit Authority. The Committee on Fire, Agriculture, Power and Energy Utilities, Public Transit, Unemployment Insurance, and Universal Health Care will continue to accept written statement on today's hearing within 10 business days from today, which may be mailed to my office at 238 Archbishop Flores Street, Suite 905 of the DNA building in Hagatna. You may also send your written testimony to my office via email, Senator Parkinson at guamlegislature.org. Thank you all for your participation. This confirmation hearing is adjourned, and the time now is 12:31.